Well, hello, America. Huh? How you feeling? I know I've had a great day. Welcome to the Glenn Beck program and to The Blaze. This is the network that you are building. I spent most of my day on the phone with my business partners in New York and here in Dallas, having all kinds of meetings because I may be the dumbest businessman in America. I've talked to so many people who say I'm giving up and I can't do it anymore and I won't survive. I'm doubling down. And it's probably not the best day to do it because I'm not good at predictions, apparently, at least on politics. We have always told you that we would lead the show. If we make a mistake, we're going to lead the show with it. And I want you to know that I'm not a guy that hides behind and tries to explain anything. I was dead wrong on this election, and I want to be the first to own up on it. My feeling was obviously that it's something that didn't happen. I said that it was going to be a Chick-fil-A moment, and clearly that didn't happen. Out of 120 million votes, the difference was 2 million people. I was convinced it would be a big margin, but before anybody can tell me how wrong I was, I'm going to lead with really how bad it was. This is me, I think, a couple of days ago.
It's going to be all that close. I think this is going to end a lot earlier than everybody thinks. The media is going to have a lot of explaining to do. I mean, one of us is going to be greatly discredited tomorrow, and it very well could be me. But I mean, really? I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts on this one.
Okay, you should never listen to me about politics. I was stunned. If you were watching how many of you watched the coverage last night on the network? Yeah. Could you tell I was like, you could have come up and hit me in the head with a shovel about 8:30 or 9 o'clock, and I would have been less surprised. Before the election, I think it was Monday night, I was saying my prayers with my wife. We got into bed, and then we started to talk, and I was tired, and she was tired, and quite honestly, both of us were cranky, and it was almost midnight. She had been in Rhode Island over the weekend. I had been in 3 states over the weekend. The weekend before, I wrote a letter to my son apologizing to him for missing his football game and tried to explain to my 8-year-old son that we just live in a different world and we sometimes do things that we don't want to do. And we were laying in bed, and I foolishly said to my wife, well, the good news is, when Romney is elected, maybe some of the pressure will come off and we'll be able to slow down. And things will change, honey. And when I said that and laid my head down on the pillow, I knew I was wrong. I knew. And I stopped myself in the middle of a radio monologue yesterday, and I said, I'll tell you, I hope I don't have to tell you, but I'll tell you what I think is going to happen. Well, I'll tell you tomorrow. Well, today is tomorrow. What happened was my mind was not in line with God's mind. I was praying that the eyes of the nation would be opened, and I didn't realize that maybe our eyes were the ones that needed to be opened on how bad things in our country really are. Praying for Mitt Romney to be elected, probably a little myopic in thinking comparison to what God has in store. God's not worried about a single candidate or a party or anything else. He is worried about all of his children, and he is worried about freedom. Today, you might feel angry or frustrated or confused. You might feel like whining or complaining. We have pity party t-shirts. Bob, that looks good on you. It's got a Kleenex box. I mean, it's appropriate. If you're looking to lash out, however, this is not the show for you. If you're looking to argue, and if you're looking to argue again about politics, I have to tell you, I talked to somebody. I've had a program director call me and say, you got to stop talking about God because you guys are in the minority and nobody wants to hear it anymore. And I'm like, oh, yes, okay. And I've had a conversation with several people who wanted to talk to me about politics, about what the best strategy is for 2016, and quite honestly, really? We're not going to sit and wallow in it. I'm not going to point fingers. We're not going to yell at anything. What we're going to do is what Americans always do, and that is pick ourselves up by the bootstraps, take stock of what happened, learn from it, and move on. I hate to say this. Man, I really hate to say this. We're going to be better off for it. And I say that as any kid would say that after their dad just said, well, you're just going to have to do that all over again and do the job right this time. And you're like, but that's what's going to happen. Who believes you're a better person today than you were 4 years ago? Yeah, all of us do. I do. Imagine how good it's going to be and how great we're going to be in the next 4 years. This is a push. This is a push from him to us to help and keep coming, keep going. There's a push now from the establishment Republicans who are saying, see, that little Tea Party thing, that was nice and all, but it failed. Time to pack it up and go home. I have to tell you, I think the only one that's in real trouble is the GOP. Can you spell Whig Party? We have to resist the calls from the party, because remember, the party didn't like us in the first place. They'll use any. And it's Karl Rove and the establishment Republicans that spent $500 million, and look where they got. We were making signs and showing up at rallies and calling our neighbors and friends. Which one really wasted their treasure? We didn't waste our time because we've connected with people and we know what we are. We didn't just go into a studio and make a new commercial. I believe we have to double down on what we've started.